The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to the 10th podcast in a series of 12, Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And, of course, Carl Pilkington.
Right.
Now, thanks for all your emails. We've really started a community here, I think.
Yes.
We're all brought together by one aim. The fascination of the brain of Carl Pilkington, basically.
Yes, absolutely. There's thousands of people who are equally as obsessed as we are with it.
I really don't know why it's called the Ricky Gervais Show anymore. I mean, I was cynical at the beginning, but it's farcical. Welcome to the Carl Pilkington Show.
Well, people say they'd like to hear more from you and I, but I don't see why when you've got this specimen in the room.
I feel like the ringmaster, but the real star is the shaved monkey in a jar that we bring out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the star of the show, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we've had loads of emails, actually, and we've had one from Nige, who's done this brilliant cartoon of Carl on the beach. I think we should sell those as postcards. But someone's beaten us to selling merchandise. If you go to www.cafepress.com/Mr. Pilkington, someone is selling everything with Carl Pilkington's head on it. Now, these are bootleg goods. We're not making any money from it, but I'm strangely proud. I just love to see millions of people wearing a little t-shirt or a baseball cap or drinking out of a mug with his little round head on it. He's made a clock, which is perfect because it fits absolutely, you know what I mean? The sides of the head go right to the edge of the clock because it's perfectly round.
I'd like to see maybe as well those sort of rubber or plastic face masks that you can buy for Halloween with just Carl's face.
Oh, just millions of people
Yeah.
all look like Carl. Oh, that would be amazing. What a world that would be.
Cheers for that, love. Yeah, it's Carl Pilkington here, just telling you about Channel 4 on a Friday. You've got new Green Wing, right? That's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and the It Crowd. I mean, sort of being in the comedy business and that, I think it's fair to say I'm qualified to give my opinion, and these three things are funny, so yeah, stay in, watch it, have a good night, have a nice little brew with it. Do what you want, at the end of the day, it's your life, innit? See it.
Carl Pilkington! The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Still to come, of course, Monkey News and Carl's Diary, excerpts thereof. I wonder if we should have a jingle for questions for Carl, because there's a lot of questions coming in for Carl.
Okay. Oh, chimpanzee, that question's for Carl.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough, that works. This is from Jim and Bob in Manchester. Carl, if you could talk to any animal, which one would it be and what would you say to it?
Insect, animal, anything, fish, anything.
Well, they said animal, but let's broaden it to anything.
Animal,
any creature.
Insect is an animal.
Yeah, no, but I'm just, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm just thinking about,
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? I'd probably go for the tortoise.
Okay.
Because it would take a long time to walk away from you while you were talking.
No, just because
most animals would be off straight away.
Yeah.
Just because they live for ages, so they'll have loads of stories. They've lived through a lot. You know what I mean? Through wars and stuff.
Well,
if you get an old one, that's about
yeah,
100
most of them have lived in a box in a garden for 52 years.
No, but you get some that have been about, and even if it's in a box, you can overhear.
They've really travelled, have they?
Yeah.
I mean,
some of them have experienced more than you.
Yeah.
But they've broadened their horizons a bit more than you. They could probably teach you a thing or two, yeah.
And what would you hope to learn from them?
Just history.
Right. From their very specific tortoise perspective. Other emails. We've had a lot of questions about time travel. People are fascinated about your approach to time travel. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but this is a very specific time travel question. If you had a time machine, Carl, to what event in your childhood would you travel back to and why?
What's the point in going back to things that you thought... No, it's just that it's never as good, is it? It's like a place you go on holiday and you go back thinking it'll be as good as the first time. It never is. So I don't believe in going back to places.
What do you understand the question as? Do you think they're asking, would you go back like a ghost and spy? Would you go back and you've got your childhood back? You are that child again. You're in the body. You are the child, or you've got your adult head and experiences.
Rick, I really don't think Carl was thinking there was any of those variations.
No,
let's be honest. But now that you've flagged them up,
I think he was thinking of him as he is now in school with a cap on.
yeah.
But
too big for the chairs.
yeah. Come on.
No, I don't think I would go back. It's all happened now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's an email to a podcast for our own amusement.
Well, okay, well...
Choose an event. Okay, forget the time travel thing. Well,
No, hang on, I think let's clarify one of Ricky's points. What if you could go back and you could live that moment again? How would you do it differently?
There's been times where I've gone, oh, that was a bit out of order or whatever, but then you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I don't want to go back and change stuff, because it's like that thing that they go on about, innit, where they blame the butterfly on an earthquake. You know, it's going to happen. If it wasn't that butterfly, it's another one. So why pass the buck, is what I'm saying.
So you've got no regrets. There's nothing in your past you'd want to change or do differently?
What about if you went back and you spied like a ghost on something? You couldn't change anything, but you could have a look at someone and just sort of look, like
what?
like Ebenezer Scrooge does, the Ghost of Christmas Past. He goes back and he's sort of like looking at himself dancing and stuff, or... What would you do? What would you go back and have a look at?
Yeah, but you're asking me to change. I don't want to change.
You're not changing, you're just observing.
It's impossible.
All right,
this question, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have to do this. It's impossible.
Right, yeah, I nearly died once, didn't I? On an ice pop.
Right.
Right. Now, maybe if I would have died, I'd say, well, let's go back to that, and I won't have an ice pop.
You wouldn't be doing the podcast if you'd have died. You wouldn't be having this email put to you. What are you
That's
talking
absurd.
about?
You're now saying... You're rewriting history and then going back to change it.
Yeah.
There's no need. You didn't die.
Well,
And
what-
we've changed it. You can't change anything. You're just going to go back and watch something. Would you like to go back and watch yourself choking on a Mr. Freeze?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't go back now, because I'm all right. I haven't had one since. I've learnt a lesson. I'm not missing them ice pops. So
I don't think you're making the most of this opportunity to fantasise.
I don't see the point in going back in anything. I mean, do you mean go back in time to the point of you can see, like, Rome in its working day?
What, in your childhood? Was Rome about when in your childhood? Were there gladiators
Well,
in your
that's what I'm
childhood?
saying. Everything I've been through, so why see it again?
Forget it. It was just a nice little question.
I mean, that shows the lack of imagination
Right,
in Carl
all right.
Pilkington.
Can
Your
I-
mind can't
all right,
fathom
well-
something unless it's, like, you know, got two heads.
But I don't see the point in doing something twice. Because the thing is, say if there's one good moment when I was about 6 that I loved, I'd then have to go through all the other 20 years. Again.
Well, why? Why have you imposed that? It's a fantasy. Make it up.
You could
Just
go
say-
back and come back
Yeah,
again.
whiz back and fast forward 35 years.
Nah.
Brilliant. No. Like it was on offer. Like this was really on offer. Move on.
Migrant workers in South China are wearing adult diapers on packed trains heading home for the New Year holiday because they've got no access to the toilet. Many supermarkets in this particular part of China have reported a 50% increase in sales of adult nappies for the train trips. Now, what do you make of that, Carl? You're on a long, long train journey, 3 hours, 4 hours.
You know there's no toilet. You know you're going to need to go. Pop on a...
Why isn't there any toilets?
They just aren't on the trains.
And they're a really long journey.
Yeah.
How long?
Hours.
Well, very long in China. It's a big country.
I wouldn't. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I'd have to hold it in or something. Just like, I mean, when I was a young kid, I don't know how young you are when you wear a nappy and that, but I remember that I didn't like it doing it in a pair of pants like that, a pair of nappies and that. And I used to have to, even when I was too small to sort of get up on the toilet and that, because you'd fall in. My mum knew that I didn't like nappies and that. I used to just go in the corner, just near the kitchen, in this thing that, like a litter tray. That cat's having that. I mean, it wasn't like that, but that's that's the same sort of idea. And I'd go there, and I'd do my thing. And my mum used to say, "Oh, he's going there. Don't look at him," and that, because it put me off. Like cats don't like being watched when they do it.
When they go in their litter tray in the kitchen.
No, they don't. They don't like it. I tested it again.
What are you, just like a little feral kid, just running around and going to the litter tray, covering it up, and then running up the curtain and eating a sweet at the top of the pelmet?
No, but nobody likes being watched, and that's what I'm saying. If you're sat on a train and you're knocking one out and that, and everyone's looking at you, I don't think it'll catch on.
Well, it has caught on. They're all doing
honestly.
it. They're just sitting there. They're doing, they're reading the paper, doing Sudoku, and they're looking round when they're going. They're thinking, oh, no one knows I'm going. Everyone's thinking that, and everyone's going.
I mean, it's partly because there are 120 million peasants from China's vast rural areas who swarm into the cities for work. And so, that sheer number of people means that the trains are so overcrowded.
I just don't. I mean, what are we getting to? You know what I mean? What's going on in the world that this is happening?
I know.
I mean, people have always had to travel for ages. I just don't understand why there isn't a toilet on it. We're going backwards. We're going backwards. Aren't we? Why isn't there a toilet on it?
Well, maybe there is, but maybe people are thinking the queue is going to take forever. If you've got 125 million people
Yeah,
going
but not
back.
everybody wants to go at once. I mean, I know Chinese and all that are like at the forefront of everything that goes on in the world, inventing stuff first, but this isn't one of the best that they've come up with.
What have they invented then, the Chinese? Just
Loads of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah,
They've
well,
done
no,
loads
you,
of stuff.
I was going to ask you. You seem quite educated on the subject. But
They did them cat mop things that I told you about.
brilliant. I mean,
This
you
was
could've-
where you put mops on the feet of cats, was that right?
Yeah. And they
Brilliant.
wander about the house, clean up and that, wash the floor for you whilst they're pottering about. They've done like hats with umbrellas on them. They've done. I mean, they're known for like coming up with stuff first.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was gunpowder, but yeah, cats with mops is good as well.
Just a final mention of one of the emails that came through from Phil Hobby in Falmouth in USA. He says, "Hello chaps, just wanted to let you know that I was at a party on Friday and I bought 2 remixes of I Could Eat a Knob at Night on a CD. Let me tell you, I played them at the party. They were a huge success. They were a smash. By the end of the night, the party was hip to the words I Could Eat a Knob at Night. Half of them were even singing along. So big thanks to you, Ricky, Stephen, Carl. Now, what would be ideal, of course, I suppose, is one of the big superstar DJs, if they could drop that into their set. You know, a Carl Cox, a Fatboy Slim.
Tong.
Pete Tong, yeah.
Boy Tong.
He got power, and I'd love to hear him drop it. Maybe
Yeah.
even, and I suppose Westwood wouldn't be able to put that in. I know he's more of a hip hop guy, but yeah. So I mean, if you at any point ever hear I Could Eat a Knob at Night, the remix at any kind of club event, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Well, now to one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival Monkey News one day. It is Monkey News. It's you know, it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Carl Pilkington's diary. Oh, he's written it down, yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just
Well, yeah,
just
sort
annoyed
of,
about
sort
something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town, and that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
What, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket? I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
For about 45 minutes.
And yeah, a mate sort of said, "Oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics, and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that." He said, "You ought to come to Twiggy's," and I went there, but I didn't go in. It was shut. It was they were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, "Oh, I've come to have a dance." And like, "Oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow." I never went back.
Brilliant. Next. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary. As there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they're running out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right, then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is... what I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It ends the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
Goodbye.
I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it and the first sentence read, Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers. I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word whew means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing
Who's
that right?
using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't going to solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, I know I'm about 'cause I dream. Doesn't work for everything 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
I'm not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, you'd sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level. You know,
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes
Yeah,
feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep when
Yeah.
you're tired.
No,
yeah.
but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's
sleeping.
just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop.
Alright, just doing a little advert for Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. You might be going out and that, doing something nice, which, you know, if you are, then fair enough, go out. But I'm just saying, if you're staying in, you've got new Green Wing, right, that's nearly ready. Got My Name is Earl, The It Crowd, all funny stuff and that. Don't know about you, but, you know, I'll be staying in watching it, just having a bag of crisps and stuff. So if you're staying in, put the telly on, do that. If you're going out, go out, have a nice night. See you later.
Carl Pilkington!
Well, it's that time again. If you'd give us the jingle, please.
Oh, chimpanzee day.
Okay, now that surely cannot be fair on anyone's ears listening.
Right, ages ago, right, about the 1950s,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there was this gangster knocking about. And do you know how, like,
Was he called Hairy Fingers?
do you know how, like, a lot of gangsters like to get into gambling and that?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, like, all his peers and that, all these mates who are, like, gangsters and stuff, they've all bought horses, right, that they take racing and they make money from them and that, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, he
And
was
Chuckles Seagull was no different.
like... And he was like, yeah, that's a good thing to get into. I might get into a bit of that, right? So he gets himself this horse, right? And there's a big race coming up. That's why he's he's a bit of a last minute.
And the jockey turns up and it's fine. He's a human jockey and it's fine. Excellent. Okay, well that was another podcast.
So anyway, so
please listen.
Oh, hang on,
next.
there's more.
Oh, go
hang
on.
on. So
Oh.
anyway, this big race is coming up. He's like, I've got to be involved in this
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
can make a lot of money out of my horse here.
Choose the jockey wisely, then.
So he says to his mate, he said, look, I've got myself a horse and that. He said, we just need a jockey, get someone,
Oh, yeah.
sort it out and
Yeah.
what have you, so I can get in this race. So,
Go to the jockey
his,
club. Loads
His
of
mate's
people.
like, yeah, all right, I'll have a word and that, have a look round and that, see if there's anyone decent.
And there's,
knocking
the
out
good thing
there.
about jockeys is there's never been a shortage of jockeys because a lot of them don't make the grade. So there's always too many jockeys to go round.
Always too many human jockeys.
Yeah, there's never a problem getting jockeys.
Fine.
Go on.
So anyway, so he comes
Was that
back.
true in the 50s as well?
It's always been
It's
true.
always been true. It's always just
been
wanted to
true.
clarify
There's no lack of jockeys.
So-
it's sort of close shot. People are trying to do it and they don't make the grade. So,
But in the 50s, from your knowledge, there was not, like in 1951, a shortage of jockeys for just 1 year.
absolutely never. I'd have known about
Okay,
that.
fine,
I'm quite
yeah.
a keen.
Right.
Go on.
So anyway, right. So his mate says, "Look, I'm having a problem getting a jockey,
Seems odd because
this
Ricky's
is
just
weird.
been saying.
I don't know.
He's just been saying there's not a problem.
What do you mean? So,
just because the main problem was
Go on.
a lot of jockeys were aware of this gangster and were saying, I'm not getting involved with this guy. The chances are I won't get paid. You know, he's a gangster. It's not
no,
worth
you
it."
would do it if it was a gangster asking you. You'd be scared of the consequences.
So anyway, he's saying, look, don't be coming to me with problems and that, right? I've got the horse. I want it in the race. Sort it out. So they're like, oh, but boss. And he's like, don't give me any of that. Go and
Exactly.
sort it out.
They do what he says, so any jockey would do it. Go on.
So anyway, so the day before,
The big race, yeah. Left it to the last minute, okay, but
Yeah.
fine.
and he says, have you got a jockey then? They're like, yeah, but... And he's going, don't worry about it. Have you got a jockey? Yeah, but... And he's like, well, look...
He wants
what-
to say, sure. Yeah,
So,
they won't let him.
he's saying, has he ridden their horses before and that? He said, well, yeah, he has, but mainly... And he's like, brilliant. He goes, yeah, but mainly in, like, a
in
circus.
the jung.
No, like, in the circus and that. He'd worked with horses and stuff,
In the
apparently.
circus.
It's fine.
yeah.
So he's
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
that's enough. That's all I need to know.
Well, they'd be too heavy because circus
Said
people
so-
are quite built, aren't they? They're
said
be a
so-
bit heavier than the jockey because the jockeys are about 8.5 stone.
He said, brilliant. Get him down there and that, right? Anyway, the race happens.
He didn't want to meet him beforehand. He wasn't worried.
No
about
point,
that?
not
No,
bothered.
no.
As far as he's concerned,
It's all
he's
sorted.
putting his money on it and what have you.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
What happened is they were trying to make him put on the jockey outfit,
Yeah.
but for some reason it didn't fit that well.
Sleeves
And that-
too
it was-
short,
it was
legs too long.
It's that sort of problem.
Okay.
So they let him, like, you know, wear his stuff that he wore in the circus and that because it's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
of
That's what
course,
he's
yeah,
happy
let
with.
him-
Anyway, race starts and what have you. This horse straight out of the trap and that high speed, right? This jockey's got a really big grin on his face. He's loving it, right? Everyone's cheering, going, "Who is this? Who's this jockey?"
Yeah.
It's amazing. Never seen him before, and yet look at him.
But they can see his face clearly.
Anyway, Gangster's happy in that because he's won.
But I just want to say the crowd can see the jockey, can they?
What?
The crowd can. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
face
he's
not-
so fast and what have you.
It's a blur. It's all a blur. Rick.
He's good at it. I mean, apparently he was
Right.
close to falling off, and people were like, he's gone, he's a goner. But
Right.
he's got such a good reach that he managed to grab hold of
Oh,
the...
Sure.
good reach. Oh.
And
Right,
well, they
so-
could tell he was smiling. They could tell he was smiling, but they couldn't see the detail of his face. Is that right? Just
well,
to clarify that.
it's just blur and that. and
Sure,
just
but
saw
they
a
could
big
tell he was
tooth.
smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they knew he was happy.
At the end of it, do you know, like, the winner sort of rides around the crowd bit, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Sort of, you know, show off and what have you.
Yeah,
And all the women are there, and do you know, like, women are all dolled up at these events.
sure.
They've all got big hats on.
Sometimes they got fruit on those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right.
And one of the women,
In
one
the
of the
50s,
women,
particularly Carmen Miranda was very popular. Yeah.
one of the women had like you say, fruit and what have you on it,
Yeah.
a little banana.
Right. Some kind of
They're
Cuban
not real.
woman.
They're not real though. The hats though. They're
not real fruit, is it?
No, of
Yeah.
course not. Never.
So it-
But I don't know
Really
who. I thought they wore those sort of kind of Cuban
Yeah, but
entertainment shows. I didn't realise they wore them at
but
events.
even if it's like a big event, you know, you might have a hat with fruit, and it's sort of joke, but it's fake fruit because it would
Yeah.
perish. It
well,
would.
this
but-
this jockey didn't understand that. He'd never seen false fruit.
I don't understand.
But why did the jockey suddenly? Why was he so desperate for fruit? I don't understand.
So anyway, meanwhile, the gangster's collecting his 500 quid winnings.
Yeah.
Right, he's over the moon.
Yeah,
He kicks off because of this woman with the fruit.
yeah. I don't understand. I still don't understand
I don't
why the
understand.
jockey would go.
Everyone noticed. Jockey, little monkey fella.
Oh, that makes sense. If he was a monkey, that would make sense.
Yeah.
What year was this? Because I want to.
It was 1950s, and that's where the saying comes from about, do you know, like in Cockney slang, 500 quid is a monkey. He sort of put, he put a monkey on it, and it all goes back to the time when
So this happened in England.
in this country,
It
yeah, in
happened
the
in England. So
1950s.
someone could well still be alive that we could easily
yeah.
contact. That
Well,
would
that's it.
confirm
We
that,
always,
'cause they were at the
there's
event.
no time length on this monkey news. If you've got any, if it's history, if it goes back,
Or
you
if
know,
it's
years
made
ago,
up, bullshit.
just send it in.
If it's
to,
bollocks,
If you've got
send
any
it in.
bollocks
If it's
that you
absolute
wanna
bollocks,
send in.
please send it in.
That's this week's monkey news.
RickyGervais.com. Well, that's the end of the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Only 2 more to go. 1 more hour of the drivel that is the thoughts of Chairman Pilkington, or Dilkington, as he should now be known. This podcast was brought to you by Positive Internet. Those great guys at Positive Internet host the world's #1 podcast. It's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
If you want to get in touch, remember it's podcast@rickygervais.com.
and Carl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to number 11 in our series of 12 podcasts with me, Ricky Gervais. Hello, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Carl Pilkington.
Right.
Now, Carl, you have become a phenomenon. Okay? Right. This is a news story that's gone everywhere. It started, I think, in New York, Reuters, and then that's been taken up by every Reuters network everywhere. India, all over Australia, England. Okay, here it is. The headline is, Podcast makes Britain an unlikely internet icon. Britain there, Briton. Okay? Now, this is the story by Mark Egan, and it came out of New York originally. Unemployed British radio producer Carl Pilkington has become an unlikely superstar by using the medium of podcasting for his bizarre statement about eating an animal's private parts. Remember that?
Yeah, it was more about like that reality show.
Well, it says that here. It was during a discussion on the Gervais Show about a reality TV show where contestants were asked to eat an animal's penis. Pilkington made internet history while talking about this, it says, right? First, he said he could not eat an animal's penis in the morning because he had a delicate stomach. He then proclaimed, using the British slang for penis, I could eat a knob at night. Okay? His knob soundbite has become so popular that a Google search for I could eat a knob at night yields more than 500,000 listings, okay? Among them are T-shirts featuring the slogan, okay, and Pilkington's bald head. selling for $17.
Why did it have to make a point about your bald head?
I don't know. Why is that getting a little mention?
Wow!
It doesn't matter. See the T-shirt. Have a look at it. I mean, what is bald? I'm not buying one then. It's not going to make any difference. Either you want a T-shirt with me head on or you don't. It's not an issue.
All it says is,
But
among
also
them are
all
T-shirts featuring the slogan and Pilkington's bald head. I also liked it when it said, Pilkington plays the village idiot on the Ricky Gervais show. Okay? Now, plays the village idiot suggests that he thinks you're a character. That character being a village idiot. The problem is, the fact that you're not a character, to me, suggests that you are just a village idiot.
A global village idiot.
Yeah. Now...
Just on the websites, though, when it said there's loads of websites about eating a knob at night,
Yeah.
have they looked at each website and gone, yeah, that's to do with the podcast?
Yeah.
Or is it just like gays and that saying, oh, I love a bit of knob at night?
It's a valid question.
It's a valid question. That's why you're an internet icon, Carl, because you say things like that. After Gervais mused on the show that the soundbite could be used in a dance remix, it took just a few days for the internet to be awash with songs using the soundbite as a hook. So what do you think of that, Carl?
Oh, I mean, is it big in India?
Well, I don't know. It goes around the world. This is a story.
I know, but I
that's
just
showing
can't
the
believe
world.
the problems that... If I was in India, I wouldn't be getting upset about someone in London talking about a knob at night with the problems they've got.
Well, I don't think anyone's getting upset in India.
No,
He's
but
just saying that the
it's saying
information's
everyone's- I
spread
can't
the word.
imagine people walking around India. Have you heard that song, Knob at Night? I can't imagine that happening with the, they're hungry and that, and it's dusty and everything. You sort of
That's
go-
your image of India, is it? They're hungry and it's dusty.
I assume it's, the parts of India that aren't dusty and in poverty. There is a lot of poverty in India, but there's also,
Yeah, but these
it's
parts of
still a major civilization, and the people that live in apartments with computers, they probably might tune in.
But I don't think it's an issue all over the world, is it? Because there's some places where they eat dogs. They'd go, knob at night, not a problem. Might not be a bad thing. You know, why is that out on a T-shirt? I had one last Wednesday. Not an issue. What do you mean? No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, if there are cannibals listening, if there's, in places that you wouldn't travel to, and they get hold of a little laptop and an iPod, and they're listening to that, I can eat a knob at night, then they're going, what's the problem? What's the big deal? We love a knob at night.
Yeah,
We love a little knob at night, yeah. Bollocks in the morning, knob at night. That's the rule.
But what about the fact that they're saying you're a phenomenon, a global phenomenon? Because when you were, a tiny little round-headed mank growing up in Manchester, you could not surely have ever anticipated that you would one day be described as a phenomenon, an international phenomenon.
But, at the end of the day, I went to that school, with a kid with a big head and webbed hands. Now he should be being talked about.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to be talked about. If you've grown up with a big head and webbed hands, the last thing you want to be is talked about. He wants to put on
He wants to blend into society.
He wants to put on a bit of a pair of mittens and paint his head like a crash helmet, so people think, it looks like a big head, but it's probably just a crash helmet.
Yeah, just go about his business.
Yeah.
Unnoticed.
Won't get stopped on a bike or anything.
Yeah, but I say if you've got something that's a bit weird, use it.
That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what me and Steve are doing. We have got something that's a bit weird, and we're using it. And I want to speak to the people all around the world. Thanks for listening. But how famous can you make Carl Pilkington? Are you a journalist? Please write about this for people who probably haven't listened to Carl. Talk about Carl Pilkington. Put a little poster up in your window. I love Carl Pilkington. Print a badge. Give it away. Email your friends. Tell one person about this podcast and let them discover the amazing beauty that is Carl Pilkington's mind.
All right.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back. I'm here to tell you about Friday night comedies on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. New Green Wing, it's nearly ready. My Name is Earl and The It Crowd, the great new comedy from creator of Father Ted. Get your ass to Mars. Friday night comedy this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. I'll be back. Uzi 9mm. Cause I did it divorce.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
As ever, Rick, there are hundreds and thousands of emails coming in. People contributing all kinds of stuff, pictures as always, and little video clips that they think might be of interest. And of course, as ever, lots of questions for Carl as well, just to sort of try and tap into his brain, see what's going on there. Question from Jade Ramira. Carl, what would you change if you were in charge of what kids are taught in school? Right, you know, because I mean, your school experience was a bit iffy. You got very bored, didn't you? You got very disillusioned by school.
Yeah. What I'd do, right, is instead of sort of teaching kids about 2 and 2 and that, she's 4, right?
Well done.
Show off.
I think they should be asked more questions that make them think rather than something that has just got an answer,
I totally agree.
right? So,
Yeah. To teaching them the quest for knowledge, inflaming their imagination.
but just freaking them out a bit as well. Just going like,
See, I knew that's where it was going. Because as soon as you started talking, Rick, I was thinking you're thinking some of the big existential or philosophical questions. You know, does it mean to be human? What does it mean to interact with other
Exactly.
humans? To be a humanist?
Or teaching them sort of like philosophy on a basic level, that, you know, teaching them the love for learning. So, you know, get them back to a roots level so they want to learn and then they will learn, as opposed to just teaching them facts. But
Whereas
he was thinking, freak them out a bit.
yeah.
no, just like, you know, like I read the other day, and someone sent it in on email, like how there's a dishwasher that's been found on Mars.
Rubbish.
Whoa, what?
But it's not true.
So tell them that.
But
and
it's not true.
Go home and write about it. How did that happen?
But it didn't happen.
Well, it did happen. It was in a science magazine.
No, it didn't happen. There's
It was
not
in-
a
it was in a
dishwasher on
proper-
Mars.
Why not?
Because
What do you mean, why not?
how did it get there?
But we're always sending like rubbish out there and that. It's like
Not dishwashers. What, you think the council take it away and they go, where can we put it? Well, the tip's full. Well, where's the nearest thing we can dump this? Mars, I imagine.
no, but the same way that fella who, I don't know, was it 2 Christmases ago when he was messing about saying I can get stuff to Mars and all that. He did it wrong because he did it on like Boxing Day, and I just think nobody's concentrating. No one wants to work on that day. It's kind of like, do you know what I mean? They're going to do stuff sort of half-arsed, aren't they,
Sure,
on Boxing Day? So it didn't really get there, I don't think, but it crash-landed.
What are
Right.
you talking about? What was he trying to do?
He was sending something up to Mars.
Yeah,
was?
that little fella that wanted to get something on Mars, and it got
probe, you mean?
and it didn't open properly.
Yeah.
It got there, didn't open.
But the thing is, it got there, it didn't open properly. No one's been back to pick it up. And what I'm saying is, we're saying about going to Mars as our next planet. It's a tip. There's loads of stuff that's been flirted up there.
no, it's not.
What are you
It has,
talking
'cause
about?
it's just all like that probe thing is still there, rotting away.
Yeah. So, ipso facto, there is a dishwasher on Mars. We've
Yeah.
settled that. Why would they have a dishwasher on Mars? Would they take the dishwasher up in the space shuttle in case they had dinner parties? What are you talking about?
I just think they would have a little dishwasher in there. There's a lot of them, tight space. You don't want to. But who's going to do that? You know, that means.
Do you know how much fuel it takes to move a kilogram
Yeah.
out of the Earth's atmosphere? So they're going to take up a dishwasher, are they?
Sorry, but what are they cooking up there, Carl?
How many people does it take to fly a rocket?
I
How many people? Tell me how many people.
Well, it's either one monkey with a banana shoot that feeds it, or probably 2 or 3 humans.
Right, say it's 3 humans.
Yeah.
Now there's 3 humans because they need one to steer it, one to like be going, yeah, we're all right.
Yeah,
And
one
One
to
to
top
make
of
some hors d'oeuvres.
I-
one
Another
to one to stop at the petrol station
No,
to
but
get
what,
more.
what I'm saying is, if you're going to start having a sink, then whoever's
They haven't
washing
got
up,
a sink.
I know because they've got a dishwasher.
He's got you there.
But anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But all I'm saying is, teach kids things about. Say to them, right, when you go home tonight, there was dinosaurs knocking about ages ago. How would you have lived with them? Get on with it. See you later.
Well, they didn't. I've told you this before. You got a lot of your information from the Flintstones and 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch. There weren't dinosaurs knocking around where there were little fellas knocking around in furry pants.
No, but just sort of saying to them, all right, then, here's a different question.
Go on then.
Would it be better to have dinosaurs knocking about now whilst we're here? Because
But
I put that in my diary the other day. That when you think about it, there's a population problem.
Yeah.
There's too many of us.
Yeah.
We're saving people all the time. No one's allowed to get injured anymore. You've got to, wear a helmet when you're on a bike. There's speed bumps to slow people down. Zebra crossing. Cures for illnesses. No one's dying anymore, right?
Well, I think they are.
Not as many as they should be because the world's crowded. All I'm saying
I
is
think
it's
there's still people dying. I think there's still people dying.
not that many though.
Yeah, I think there's still millions of people dying.
Apparently, a handful.
Loads of people are living longer, and that's a problem. So
So
what
you
I'm
feel
saying
that
is,
you should introduce Tyrannosaurus Rex into,
wandering
say,
about, wandering
London, just have him wandering around, just picking people off.
that's what just sort of random and that because I don't know. I mean, I'm not wishing that anyone I know dies and that, but all I'm saying is I don't know anyone who's died for ages.
Right.
Whereas if a dinosaur was knocking about, you'd go,
Oh, yeah.
Neil's gone missing.
Yeah.
And
Auntie
you go,
Nora's
that's-
had her head bitten off by a...
Whatever. I just
Yeah.
think then it is survival of the fittest, which is we've lost all that now. You don't even have to be fit to survive. They just keep sticking a new lung on you. Or do you know what I mean? They can do too much now to keep people
They
going.
just keep sticking a new lung on you.
Question from Kevin. He says, Carl, other than the famous boxing match that you've often talked about, I know that took up about 20 minutes of your time, have you ever been in any other kind of fight? I don't suppose a slanging match. I think they're talking, have you ever been in a physical fight?
Once that I can remember. It was over a woman. Well, a girl. I was at school.
Yeah.
And it was because, like, it's hassle, innit? Right, relationships when you're younger. 'Cause
How
you're
old were you?
About 7.
It was over a woman.
Go on then. Yeah, go on.
And there was this girl knocking about who, you know, she was quite good looking, everybody liked. And my mate, he really liked her. And I didn't sort of ask her out on that, but she just sort of took a shine to me and stuff, right? And didn't really go out with her properly. It's at that age where going out with someone is just like sort of going, all right, in the morning, do you know what I mean? You just sort of nod your head
Yeah.
and that. Anyway, there was some sort of school disco, and they were playing Spin the Bottle or something, right? And I sort of wandered over to see what was going on, and I stood on this girl's dress and put a hole in it, and she started crying. I was like, oh, I can't be doing with this, right? You know, what's up with you? It's a hole, what's up with you? And everyone's going, Carl, what are you doing? That's meant to be your girlfriend and that. You should be sort of saying, oh, I'm sorry, and giving her a hug and all that, and saying it'll be all right, we'll sort the dress out. I said, oh, I can't be dealing with this. Right. So she's crying her eyes out. I said, it's over, right?
Oh, it's over, you saying, all right, in the morning. Yeah.
No more of that.
Yeah, there's no more. Right. In the morning.
So I go to the toilet, right? And this lad who fancies her comes in and goes, you're out of order, you know. I'm saying, what are you on about?
Sorry, there's 2 7-year-olds. Yeah, you're out of order. Keep out.
Yeah. Cut it out. Show her a bit of bloody respect.
Sorry, were you wearing trilbies?
Yeah. He put his cigarette out in the sink, and he just said, leave it.
Get out of my face.
So I just sort of said, look, why are you getting involved and all that?
Yeah.
2 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
Why are you getting involved?
And it was obviously like, because, you know, he fancied her and that. We had
Yeah.
a bit of a fight in there.
Yeah.
I accidentally, you know, sort of chipped his tooth on a sink. Right?
Wow, is it like a proper...
Sorry, this is like someone from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? 2 7-year-olds in a toilet.
So you put a hole in her dress. I don't know how that happened. What were you wearing?
I just
Football
stood
boots?
on it.
How did you make a hole in her dress?
I don't know. It was like that sort of material.
You were
like,
wearing winkle pickers.
like crepe. You know what I mean? It was like a crepe dress or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
So-
got a hole in it.
So you're having and when you say you're having a fight, I mean, are you wrestling with it? You got arm locks
a
and
little bit of
headlocks?
wrestling and shoving about and that, and it was an accident. I didn't sort of go, right, I'm going to break your teeth or anything. It's just that I happened to push his head down, and his tooth hit the sink,
Right.
and it chipped and what have you. After that, like I sort of left there and stuff, and we had to go into assembly, and there was a copper in there doing some presentation saying, "Listen, kids, you know, don't get into trouble, because we're out there and we'll get you." Right, so sort of try to teach the kids young not to get into any trouble and stuff. So I'm sat in the assembly room thinking, oh God, there's a copper here talking, and like my mate's going to come in a minute, like with a chipped tooth and everything. And
Questions are going to get asked.
that's what kind of happened. I mean, the coppers didn't get involved.
Yeah.
Did you turn your back on violence after that then?
Yeah.
well, I did-
He said, you'll never take me alive, copper.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the sort of last fight.
Brilliant.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Some of the questions coming in now, Rick, are just, I don't know what they're intending, what response they're hoping for, really. This is one from Rob. He just says, I was just wondering, what are Carl's views on the human appendix?
What do you think, Carl? What do you think of the human appendix?
Never worried about it.
Well, no, I think Rob's point is that it's sort of pretty redundant now. The appendix used to be an organ that was packed with these enzymes that help break down things like cellulose. But because of our diet now, and because that cooking and other things. We don't need to eat a lot of cellulose. We don't eat very, very low grade things like rabbits, for example, huge appendix and cecum, and they use it to break down the cellulose. They actually eat their own feces to get it through again, but we get a lot of nutrients out of food now. We eat very rich food, so we sort of don't need the appendix. And also, when something goes wrong with the appendix, if it bursts, it can infect you and you can die from it. So sort of what's the point in having it? We don't need it, and it can only cause us harm. That was the question, I think, that Rob was putting to you. So now what are your thoughts on the human appendix?
So this is kind of what we've talked about before, where...
He always says that. He always says something like, "Oh, we've talked about this before," and the thing that he's talked about is nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's never. Go on.
No, but just like in the way that we've messed with our body and we've messed with the world too much.
Yeah.
If we've got an appendix, we must need it. If it's dangling about, right?
Well, no, because such is the human evolution is that as you said before, it's no longer based on survival of the fittest, because we can fight nature and combat it. So our evolution, if you like, socially and everything else, it has been much faster than our biological evolution.
What I mean is we've obviously interfered somewhere along the way, and
we have interfered. Yeah,
we shouldn't have done, because it's the same way. Like if we didn't have planes and that, would we have wings now? If we'd have needed to get about, would we have had wings?
No, the answer's no. Next.
No, but you say that, but look at the way...
Because he's right, says it because he's right.
No, but all I'm saying is you see that little picture of like an ape to man.
Yeah.
At first, they're crawling about on all fours because probably you're looking for food, so you want to be down there. So
right.
if you're on both legs, you're missing stuff that's on the floor.
What sort of time period do you think this... Because, we started, dabbling with a plane maybe 100 years ago. So what sort of time period do you think this little thing who was scrabbling around looking for food stood up and walked?
I don't know. I sort of don't worry about time. Sort of
well, I'll tell you now, we wouldn't have
Rome.
wings now. If the Wright brothers had said, forget it, we wouldn't have wings now.
What would happen? Right, here's another question. This is one that I'd chuck out to kids as well. We were talking about education, teaching kids stuff.
Sure.
What would happen, right? We ruin this world, right? Goes wrong and that, right? They shut it down. They go, we're moving. We go to another planet.
It's as simple as that in his world. It's as simple as that.
We can't go to Mars because it's full of stuff that used to be in Dixon's.
It's like a tip.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So we can't go to there. We go somewhere else.
So you find another planet, wherever it is, right?
Yeah. Wherever it is. Easy.
Something that I've always wondered about, if we do that, do we start New Year's or do we carry on? Do you know what I mean? Do we say, it's still 2006? Or do we go, it's world new, or whatever?
Yeah.
New world.
That is definitely the first priority.
It's year one. Right, we've sorted that out. Right, now...
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because a year might not be the same on this planet.
We'd sort that out, right? We'd sort out what year it is and that.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, we'd have to start again anyway, because the planet might not take 1 year as we know it to go around the sun. It might not take a day to turn. A day is a day because that's how long it takes.
But we'd have to carry on as we know, because we don't want to start doing longer days and that. Otherwise, they'll just kick off and say, "This is rubbish. This new world. What are you doing?"
No,
I'm doing a 28-hour day.
We wouldn't have a choice. A day is how long it takes the planet to turn, and a year is how long it takes that planet to go around the sun.
But a day is man-made, really. There's places in the world where they're working in the dark, isn't there, in Iceland and that? But they don't go, well, it's dark all the time, so I'll stay in bed.
Well, no, but there's still a day. It's still 24 hours in a day in Iceland.
Yeah, but we only work by that clock because that's what people use at the moment when they go, what time is it? You go, it's 20 past 11.
No. We use that because that's how long it takes the planet we're on to
I've never worried about it like that. I've just always...
Well, no, I'm telling you...
Well, that's because you weren't asked to get involved when they came up with the idea.
I'm telling you that's what a day is. It's how long it takes your planet to... What do you mean? What?
No, I'm just saying that's fine and everything, but if when I was born people said there's 26 hours in a day, I'd go, fair enough. I'm not going to argue it.
We could have made up how long an hour is. Yeah, we could have made hours shorter and get 26
Well, they're saying they're going to do that. Because
they're not.
No, they are, because there's so many people in the world.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about before. They've got to create more jobs. The only way to have more jobs, keep shops open, take on more people, everyone's happy.
That makes no sense at all.
Right, say if there's 28 hours in a day.
Yeah, it'd still be 24 hours long as we used to know it.
No, you'd have like, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's like 20 past 25 or whatever.
Well, you're not making any sense at all.
No, I'm just saying...
The Earth would still take 24 hours as we know it now
Forget it.
Hang on a minute. I want. There's more interesting territory here. Let's say we've got to our new planet, wherever that is. It takes 14 hours. Okay, to do its turn. So we call that a day, right? So we've now agreed that 14 hours is a day.
But nothing. It's going to take ages to get the town centre built and that. If you've only got,
I'm going with you. I'm defending you here.
all right. Yeah.
So we've got that. We've established what the day is. We've established what a year is, right? It's year one. It's Carl year one. What next? All right, we've got all the people. We've moved to another planet. You said you had a bunch of other questions.
Don't forget, our sleep patterns have evolved on a day. The reason we sort of like go to sleep at night and have about 8 to 10 hours sleep is because that's our evolution.
No, but that's that's just because that's what we've got used to, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at a sloth, that's asleep all the time. Yeah, that's got the same watch as us. It's doing what it
but
wants.
it evolved differently, didn't it? It evolved
but
on
it's living now in 2006, so wake it up. Right, you can't get away. You're not getting away with this anymore. If you want to live now, join in with us.
Well, it's that time again. It's the feature that the world is saying could rival Monkey News one day. Ready? Oh, what's he written today?
Well, Carl's diary. You didn't
Yeah.
explain what it was.
Carl's diary.
Actually, as one person said, if we are going to get it published, we could maybe publish it as The Diary of an Idiot.
Very good.
So, a little riff there on one of the most famous diaries. Sunday, got up. Sunny day, so went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content, it really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellors, I'm afraid, I've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen, would it?
No,
Doesn't
you
seem
don't
right, does
whistle
it?
when
Yeah.
you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms. And that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Carl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse. Yeah. Suzanne. Oh, I can't talk now, Carl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam. It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them. But the Oxfam is closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is. On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day, she goes to work on a body, she takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about him ages ago where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees somebody who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers like going down that street as a kid on his bike whistling,
Yeah.
and then he's walking down the street going to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. He hears the whistling. He goes, "That's weird." Looks at it. It was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time.
Talk shit. What do you mean? It was him as a kid.
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just
Well, it's impossible. It's rubbish.
some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No, it's
time,
not even that's
sort of-
impossible. So don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
something
some
you
kind of time
read
thing.
again on the internet, or it was a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang, or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Carl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze. More from that next week.
Hey, fool! Don't give me no back chat, sucker! I ain't here to mess with you, I ain't getting in no plane. I'm here to tell you all about Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great new comedies. New Green Wing, yeah, fool, that's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and The It Crowd. They're great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted, sucker. Friday Night Comedy this Friday on Channel 4, fool. Switch it on, or I'll be round your house. You stay up all night shivering, 'cause you be so mad scared. Fool.
Oh, well, it's that time now. Yeah? It's the big one.
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news!
Right, there was this
Monkey?
this fella, right, who he had a problem with his eyes, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctors and he goes, oh, I've got a problem with my eyes. And he goes, yeah, they're bad then, right? He goes, it was in America, you know, like how you have to pay for medical stuff and all that.
Mm.
And the doctor said, oh, if I fix them, it's going to be like 10 grand, right?
Mm.
He's like, but I haven't got the money, doctor. He goes, well, I can't help you then. You know, there's a lot of people with bad eyes like them. Can't do anything for you. So he goes, oh, it's getting worse. I can't do anything.
God.
So anyway, so he goes home.
Is that the price of human eyes, is it?
So he goes home, he's looking in the paper, right? And he sort of sees in the adverts at the back. And there's a little advert there saying cheap doctors, right?
No, bollocks.
Oh, no.
No.
So he's thinking, oh, maybe that's what I need, right? So he calls them up. Woman's there. She's like, wait, what can I do? He goes, I've got bad eyes and that. She says, oh, come in tomorrow, we'll sort them out. She's like, brilliant, I'll see you then, right? So he goes down there, and he says, right, you know, I can hardly see. My eyes have got in really bad state and what have you.
Right.
Need to have them sorted out. I don't know what you do. Whatever you do,
Right.
I need
Now,
doing.
his eyes are so bad, can he see the doctors? He can...
Not really,
Can't
sort
really-
of
he's
squinting
squinting.
and that, but, you know, so he's like, do I need to see the doctor to, you know, have a word and tell him what problems? She's like, no, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
just,
No, I'd be comfortable if it's a...
just you know, just let me inject you, and we'll knock you out, and we'll get on with it. And it's like,
get the
well,
doctor in.
Can I just tell you something about chimps as well, just before you continue?
Go on.
You know, they don't have opposable thumbs.
Now,
which is
why
what-
are opposable thumbs useful, Rick?
Well, to grip something, to do anything like, you know, even simple stuff like writing, so let alone surgery. So without an
But
opposable
can I just
thumb-
check now?
Go on.
So if I was a doctor and I was doing any form of difficult surgery, would I need opposable thumbs?
You'd need opposable thumbs
To be a doctor,
and without
okay.
you couldn't do anything. You could.
thanks for clearing that up.
because the opposable thumb allowed something in our evolution called the precision grip.
Right.
So without that, you couldn't do anything.
I'm just glad they've got that cleared up, thanks.
So anyway, so he's had the injection, he's nodding off and what have you, right? His eyes are sort of closing and that, he hears the door open, he sort of just sees this little fella come in and he's like, hello doctor, he's trying to like make a chat with it,
Sure.
but like, he's just
It?
nodding off. No, just,
Oh,
he
never
or she,
call it
was
doctor.
it he or
These,
she?
these people have done 7 years medical
Deeply
training.
respected people.
How could you call it it?
So anyway, he thought, oh, it's weird he didn't answer, but you know, doctors can be quite moody, you know, they're highly intelligent, they don't need...
Especially little airy ones.
well, just idle chit-chat, there's no room for that, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm
Yeah,
here to do a job.
yeah, but you know, if I'm going in to have my eyes done, I want a little bit of idle chimp chat.
So anyway, time passes, right? He sort of wakes up and he opens his eyes, right? And it's brilliant. He can't believe it.
Eyes are perfect.
He's had the op. He can't believe the sight. He's like, nurse, right? And the nurse comes in because I can't believe it. This is brilliant. I've never had this such good sight. Do you know what I mean? Even when I was a baby,
Yeah,
and my eyes were new,
Yeah.
I didn't see this good.
great.
So she's like, well, you know, that's
You realise the nurse is a panda.
that's what we do, right? So he said, right, so can I just see the doctor and just say thanks and that? She's like, well, to be honest, you know, he's specialised in what he does. There's a lot of
What
work.
a load of bollocks this is getting.
Please.
Where did you get this from?
No, come on, let's hear the end of the news.
There's
Well-
a lot of like operations he's got to do.
Yeah.
So you know, leave him to it. He's just having a kip. You know, I'll let him know that you were grateful. You know, pay us a check. Off you go. Go and enjoy looking at stuff.
Yeah.
So he said, no, I just what's wrong with that? I just want to see that. She's
No,
like,
that's
no,
fine.
leave it. Just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it. If
And
he
he's
says
like,
it's
yeah, but I can't. You know, I want to thank him. So he's done such a good thing for me. So they're getting into a bit of an argument and what have you, and the voices are raising, right? Door opens.
Going to wake the doctor up.
Well, that's what they did. They woke it up, right?
They woke it up.
it.
So the door opens, right? Little monkey comes out,
Oh.
and he's like, "What's going on here? It's a hospital. Why is the a monkey knocking about?"
Yeah.
So the woman said, "Well, what do you mean? He's the doctor." Right? so he's like, "You are having a laugh, aren't you?" She goes, "Look, don't complain. Your eyes are sorted.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor's done it. What's the problem?" He said, "Well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have come here." She said, "Well, what do you mean you didn't know that?" She said, "The advert in the paper you read, it's like chimp doctors."
That is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. That really is the worst.
What? And because his eyes were so bad, he thought it said cheap doctors.
He saw the advert and it said chimp doctors, but because his eyes were bad, he just saw it.
What
as,
journal is this in?
It was years ago, because it sort of says how the monkey sort of carried on working for a few years. He couldn't do anything
Then
about
just
it. He had to
retired to
leave
play
it.
golf.
It's absolute bollocks.
It's
There's no way. I mean, it's not even worth talking about.
So-
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's the most ridiculous monkey news we've ever heard, and that's saying something.
Chimp doctors, cheap. It's easy mistake.
Well, that's the end of another podcast. That's week 11. We've got one more to go next week. So go to rickygervais.com, see some of the things we've been talking about, register, so we can let you know what's happening when we're back.
Who hosted this podcast?
It was the great guys at Positive Internet who host the world's #1 podcast, The Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Bye-bye.
and Carl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hi, Ricky Gervais here, with me, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Carl Pilkington.
All right.
Welcome to the final episode in our series of 12 podcasts. I say final, it's final of 12, but we may be carrying on.
Go on.
Well, next week we're going to try and do another one to continue this for at least a little while. We may have to charge a small fee for it because it'll cost us money, and Carl is unemployed, but we mean a real tiny little fee. But hopefully we will be back next week. Now, we're not sure where it'll be. It'll probably be on iTunes, but just go to rickygervais.com and we'll guide you there. Hurrah!
Yay!
And thanks for listening for this long and supporting us. I hope you continue to support us. Go on, continue to support us.
Yeah, particularly Carl, who has no money whatsoever and is desperate. He's a desperate man. Is that right,
There's no
Carl?
one out there going, oh, look, they're charging for it now. But, you know, people forget we gave 12 for free.
This is it. So quickly people forget.
We're big shots.
Yeah.
Well, Carl's not, but, you know, we are, aren't we?
Exactly. I mean, we were generous, but we're not that generous.
We're not mad, and Carl needs a little bit of money. Look at his little round little head. He's like little tiny Tim over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at him sitting there. Carl, you've had a good week?
It's been all right, yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
More of that next week. You have to, but you'll have to pay for it now. I'm surprised you're not buzzing, because we just had our photograph taken to enter the Guinness Book of Records for the greatest downloaded podcast of all time. We went along to the Guardian, and the press were there, and they took a little picture of his round head, didn't they?
Yeah, but I don't know why should I be excited about it when it's just...
Have you always wanted to be in the Guinness World of Records?
Not really, no.
I've been looking at the they presented us with the this year's, and I've been looking through it, and there's some fascinating ones. I used to get
but
this as a kid.
that's what I'm saying though. There's loads of things in there that I used to go to. Like I looked at it online the other day to see if what's on there. You click on it, the home page that you get when you click on Guinness Book of Records. It's a fellow with the most ear hair, right? It looks amazing. So that, to me, is what the Guinness Book of Records is about.
Sorry, you're impressed with the bloke who just happens to have the most ear hair?
No, but it's commitment. He could have shaved it off, but he didn't. He left it.
Yeah,
no, it's less commitment.
But that just grew. We actually bothered to do a podcast.
All right, forget that then. The one with the rings on the neck where they stretch the neck so their head's tall. That's commitment. If that didn't work out, he's stuck with that head, and he didn't even get in the book.
You're stuck with that head, and you have got in the book, so be happy. What if it's a stitch-up? What if you're under roundest head?
I'd be a bit annoyed.
Why?
Just because I don't. I mean, have you got a choice? Say like the fella with, you know, the small man. Say if he's not happy about being small, he's trying to go about his life. He knows people are looking at him, pointing at him, going, "Look at him, he's tiny." But does he want to be in the book?
Oh, I think they've got to give their consent.
Have they?
Because if the smallest wasn't willing to be in there, they'd go, the second smallest man is so-and-so, he was willing to be in here.
Yeah, but the smallest one is Frank, and he didn't want to do it. So again, he's in it without wanting to be in it.
No, but I don't know.
He's got you there, Rick.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they go around. I think that you'd have to be complicit in it for them to measure your head and say this is the roundest head on the planet Earth. Not, you know what I mean?
But then what do I do with that? That's what I'm saying. Is it something you put on a CV? I don't see the point in it.
Well, I think you are the fellow with the roundest head, and I think a lot of people know that. Because also, I've noticed when people ask for a picture of you, they don't say, can I have a signed picture of Carl? They say, can I have a signed picture of Carl's head? Which is a weird thing to say about a human being, isn't it? They go, look at his head. Look at his head, not look at his face. Or can I have a picture of him? They say, can I have a picture of... Have you got a picture of Carl's head? Why are they allowed to mention that?
And the thing is, like, we're on some sort of broadcasting medium where you don't even see my head, so it's not important.
Well, I can't see your head because the mic's perfectly round and it obliterates it out like an eclipse.
But what I mean is, it doesn't matter, does it? For doing what I do, it doesn't interfere in any shape or form.
But the thing is, Carl, what people are fascinated with, and I've said it before, you've got a head like a fucking orange.
We'll be charging for more information like that from next week. We do, of course, Rick, every week get thousands of emails. I mean, it's crazy. It takes us ages to go through them and read them. And we are going through them, we are reading them. Freddie Gerstrom from Winchester says, of course, it was recently Valentine's Day. What's the most romantic thing that you've done for Suzanne, Carl, that you can think of?
I don't really do all that.
Sure.
The Valentine's Day stuff.
It's just... The problem is, if you do it once, they expect it every year.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Christmas and stuff, innit? It's like, that's what you do now, every year.
Every day, yeah.
So I prefer to just sort of wait, you know what I mean? And you know, if I think of an idea or I know of something that she wants, I might get her something, but I might not do it on Valentine's Day. It's that thing, it's like how I've said about Pancake Tuesday. Make it Pancake Wednesday. Have it when you want. Why am I waiting? Why am I waiting for someone to tell me when I can have a pancake? I'll have it today if I want one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas Pancake Tuesday, no, I won't bother. I'll have trifle. So it's the same with this, you know, with Suzanne. Luckily, right? I mean, Valentine's Day and what have you, she was ill.
Luckily.
So we didn't have to go out. So I'd say, is he asking for advice?
Well, I suppose, yeah, certainly you may as well give it.
Treat them when they deserve it.
All right.
I remember once when Suzanne was ill, she had a fever, but there was no food in the house. What did you suggest to her? She was too ill.
Well,
to
it was when we were still living in Manchester and that, and you know, we needed to get some food in for tea and stuff. And I said, come to the supermarket. She was like, no, I'm ill, you go. And I hate buying food. I just sort of get a bit blank when I'm looking at it. There's too much, isn't there? That's the problem. You go down all these aisles and there's just too much. So anyway, I said, no, come with me. She was like, oh, but I've got this fever, I'm hot and everything. So I said, well, come to the supermarket, you go on the frozen aisle, cool yourself down. And she did, and she said, you know, it made it worse, she was ill for another 3 days, but...
How would you go about chatting up a woman in a bar? What tips could you give?
I've never worked like that. It's always been like a friend of a friend and all that, and just happened to meet them. And then, you know, you have a chat, and then...
How did you meet Suzanne?
That was when I was working with her, and she gave me 20p for the hot chocolate machine. She never asked for it back. Thought she's alright. Been there sort of 11 years, so it works.
Has she ever given you that? You've never given that 20p back?
Never asked for it back.
And did you return the favour, perhaps on the next date? You buy her a Kit Kat or something?
No, I don't think I did. I think word got out that she liked me and that. And what did I do? I think I did some work for her, did some editing for her, to sort of show off my skills and that.
Sure.
And she was like, oh, you're good at this, aren't you? I was like, yeah. And I think she got us another drink because I was doing that editing for her in my own time.
So you're up on the deal, aren't you? Because I know now, I know for a fact that you've not spent any money on her in 11 years, so you're 40p up.
At least. Lawrence from New York says, I was wondering how Mr. K. Dilkington would interpret this famous saying of philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. The quote is, if a lion could talk, we could not understand him.
Even if he's English.
Yeah, if a lion could speak English, so there's no language barrier, he's speaking English words and using all the correct grammar and everything, but you wouldn't be able to understand what he was saying.
Why?
Because it is from a different world. His frames of reference would be so bizarre that you wouldn't be able to get a grasp on what he was talking about, because you'd have so little in common, even if he used real words.
No, but he's talking English.
Yeah, no, but his reference points would be just so far removed. You know, they're removed slightly when if you saw two people talking about Kierkegaard, you'd
I
hear,
wouldn't understand it.
Exactly. So remove that a billion times to a different species with different input.
No, but it depends. If I'm talking to a lion in London Zoo,
Yeah.
he'll be saying, "Oh, I'm fed up of being stuck in here." I'll go, "Yeah." It's like that. It depends what his background is. I mean, there's some people who might have lived down the road from me, but have a totally different life.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter that it's a lion, does it?
Well, yeah, because they're just trying to remove it even more. So now it's not just a bloke who lived a few doors away. Now it's not even a bloke. Now it's not even...
Yeah, but I'd pick something smaller,
Right.
or something, a worm without a mouth. I'd go, definitely not.
What? Definitely
not what?
I wouldn't be having a chat with it. I just think that a worm that's underground,
Yeah.
what's it got to offer me? It's blind and it hasn't got a mouth. It's not going to be a good day out with it, is what I'm saying. It's not going to have that much to say to me, even if it's English. Right?
Even if it's
And how can you tell if a worm is English? Does it wear a very tiny bowler hat?
Oh, Christ.
But do you understand?
What about a jellyfish?
No, you see, I think that's where you can say you wouldn't be able to have a good chat with them, because to me, the sea might as well be another world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In a way, I think the fish sort of have more rights than us,
What do you mean?
just because when whoever made the world, right?
Yeah.
Say, we're just bigging up God, but if
Yeah.
I was to have a go at him,
Yeah.
I'd say you added too much water,
Criticism 1 to God, right?
So
How would you have changed that? Just
more land.
Fair enough. Now, why have fish got more rights than us? That was what I was interested in.
Because there's loads of them, and when you look at the amount of sea on the world, right? There's loads of that. You only have to like I was in Malaga the other week, right? And you look in the sea, there's loads of different fish, and that's just in like 8-foot water. If you go miles out, there's like all sorts of weird fish, isn't there, with like lights on them and everything. So, and there's just millions of different types.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But why does that mean they've got more rights than us?
just because I think, rights come in numbers, don't they? If you know what I mean. Like, if there's one of you shouting, people go, "Oh, he's an idiot, shut up," whatever. If there's loads of you shouting, they go, "Oh, best listen to them, see what they've got to say."
Right.
And that's what I mean about fish.
Yeah.
There's loads of fish,
Right.
so
But they're not really making their voices heard, though, are they, Carl?
Yeah.
I know, because they're underwater. But what I mean is, I don't know what I mean.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Oh, pleased to meet you. Start me up. I'm here to tell you all about Channel 4 Friday Night Comedy. So start me up. Now then, there's 3 great new comedies from New Green Wing. That's nearly ready. My Name is Earl and The It Crowd. The great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted. Ow! Friday Night Comedy this Friday on Channel 4. Switch me in. It's gonna be a winner.
Carl, right? What do you think it's like being a crab? If you could go now, your mind into a crab, what would you see? Where would you be? What would you be doing? What would you be thinking? What would you think of all the other things the crabs you'd see, the squids you'd see? What's it like, do you think? I want you to... It's like creative writing. Just think. Just let yourself go. Come on.
It's got to be a crab.
What do you think of a slug? What do you think would be a slug? What would you do if you were If you were transported now into a slug, what would you do? And Suzanne, you're suddenly in the kitchen, but you're a slug, and Suzanne's sort of like there, just making tea and that. How do you let her know it's you?
It's impossible. I'd just chuck myself into the salt pot or something. No, because what do you do? I'd hate that. That would be horrible, that.
Oh, God.
Have you ever read Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis?
Don't
In which a
think so.
man wakes up and he's turned into a giant beetle? And that's the whole story. I think it might be of interest to you.
So what happened to him with the beetle?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you in case you read
No,
it.
I
but
won't be
it's,
reading it, don't worry.
He joined a pop group with 3 other people. He was brilliant.
No, it's a really wonderful book. It's a kind of almost heartbreaking because, of course, he does, like Ricky's saying, he finds it very hard then to relate to other people, even though he still has the consciousness of a human. You know, his parents, his rest of his family, they don't know how to deal with him, you know, because he's a giant beetle. He becomes a freak, he becomes an outsider. It's terrible, you know.
But hang on, though. Is he a giant beetle? Or
Yeah.
is he... Well, yeah, well, that's not going to go down well, is it? That, of course, people aren't going to like you. But if it's a normal-sized one, then you just get in with the other beetles, don't you? Whereas if you're
But
a
you'd be
giant...
sort of
How would you do that? How would you ingratiate yourself? Right, so you're suddenly a beetle, you're Carl Pilkington, right? There's other people, they're doing their business, they're scuttling around, and you go in there, and they look at you as a new beetle. What's your first... What do you do? How do you ingratiate yourself?
Well, for a bit, I wouldn't sort of barge into their house and that. I'd wait until they're out and about, and I'd like in life, right? Sort of help them out. I don't know what beetles do all day. I've never seen one doing anything. They just seem to be going from one place to another.
Right.
I've never seen them carrying anything. I don't know what they eat. I don't know what they do. I don't know how we've got them, right? But what I mean is, I'd watch them and I'd sort of help them out. And I mean, you know, it's like going on a date or meeting a woman, isn't it?
But what if there is a
Whoa,
beetle
hang
there?
on, what do you mean? How is it like going on a date with a woman?
Well, it's like I said about Suzanne with her hot chocolate. She bought me that, and I've gone, she's all right. Right? She gets me another one before I know it. She's living with me. So it's you.
So you're all these beetles, they're scrubbing around, right? You're sort of like watching them, and then you realise that you want to mate with this female beetle. What do you do? What's your first move?
Yeah, but I don't know what beetles do I? So I don't know how what you do. I don't know if you go up and go, all right. What do they do? How did they get on?
Well,
It's a different world. I don't know yet, do I? Because I haven't done it.
would you feel bad because having your own mind in this beetle, right? Would you feel bad shagging a beetle? Would you feel that was a bit sick because you've got a human mind?
Well, no, because you just close your eyes and that, wouldn't you? And go, pretend to think of something else. So, get round it that way. There's no point getting down about it because I'm stuck now as a beetle. So you've got to get on with it.
But if you're a slug, you said you'd throw yourself in the salt pot. What would you do if you were a beetle if you got depressed? And you see all the other humans.
No,
you see
but-
your mates, right? They're listening to the iPod. What would you do?
But no, that's what I'm saying, though. Beetles are different because they do tend to hang about with each other. A slug's always on its own. It's a lonely insect, isn't it?
It's not an insect.
All right, what is it?
A mollusk.
Right, they're lonely. I've never seen a load of snails all together or slugs wandering about, whereas beetles seem to knock about in crowds.
Yeah.
So, oh God. Okay, right, another one.
So they're sociable creatures, and it wouldn't bother you that you've got the mind of Carl Pilkington in there? Because you can't communicate with these people,
what if
because they
you're-
don't speak English, they don't have any communication with you.
Yeah, but if it's happened to me, there'll be another one in there.
Okay then. Right. Okay. What would you do? Right. That's the most disgusting thing. What could it be? Well, what would you do? Right. If you were suddenly a fly, right, and you were knocking around with the flies, right, and you had to land on some,
Excrement?
yeah. What would you do?
Yeah, but I don't have to.
What do you mean? You're a fly. You're
Yeah, but
loving
I
it.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be loving it, though, would I?
Why?
Because I'm me in that fly's head. So I don't think other flies would be going, come on, join in. I'd just be like, no, I'll wait here, wait, watch and that. Because I don't see why they have to do that.
What would you do, right, if you had to go back and you were in a, had to go put your mind in like the, an unhatched egg of something, like maybe one of those, that a wasp was injected in a spider. So you know you're in an egg, right, which is really uncomfortable, in a spider. How would you feel about that, Carl? You're a baby wasp in the abdomen of a spider.
And I know everything that I know now. I'm sat in there.
Yeah. And now I'm in a spider as an unborn wasp. What the fuck am I doing here? What's going on?
I don't know what I'll do there. Really try and sleep. There's nothing else to do, though, is there?
I just pray to God it never happens.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
I don't believe that he's written it down.
Well, that's the jingle that signals it's time for more extracts from Carl's diary, and we'll lunge straight into it. Wandered down Carnaby Street. There was a happy homeless fella. I gave him £1.50. I thought of a tongue twister after giving him the money. It goes, if you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
It's good, that.
All
Say
right.
it fast.
If you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
Good, isn't it?
Good, that, yeah. You've got too much time on your hands, Carl.
Learned some famous quotes to see if they are as good as my sayings. Number 1, treat every day as if it's your last. Very famous saying. Now, is that something you do, Carl?
But you know, me problem with that one is that if it was your last, you wouldn't want to be doing much. That's the only problem I've got with that. I wouldn't want to, go to a fairground or whatever because you're going, oh, it's my last day, what am I going to do? And I think you'd spend so much time worrying about what you're going to do that you'd end up staying in.
I think you're right. You've taken some of the poetry out of it. I think it means live life to the fullest, right?
I like the fact that you were musing on the idea that if it was your last day, you'd go to the fair. It's getting such a 19th century way of spending your final day.
I know, yeah. Well, the thing is, the other thing is that the only thing that people get depressed about in terms of sort of like life and death is not the knowledge that they're gonna die, but more the knowledge that they know they're going to die when they're dying. If someone told you no one ever knows when they're going to die, no one ever gets an illness, no one ever gets hit by a truck, everyone passes away peacefully in their sleep, dreaming they're riding a big marshmallow, right? Then you wouldn't care about anything. It wouldn't matter when. It wouldn't matter if you died tomorrow or in 30 years' time. You'd just live life to the full. You'd have it, every day would be great. You'd go out, you'd come back, you'd fall asleep. That would be amazing. There'd be no stress. There'd be no angsty, we're all going to die stress, because it wouldn't matter. Because it would just be your life. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone guaranteed you, Carl, you're going to die in your sleep? I'm not going to tell you when.
Yeah, but some people do, don't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
but
I
we never
want
know
that.
we're going to, because we stress. What if we get a dreadful illness? What if we,
But we're almost not letting people die naturally anymore, are we? Because we're always bodging stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, someone who might naturally die in the sleep aren't allowed to naturally die in the sleep because they wake them up with those electric things and get them going again and pop in a new lung or whatever whilst they're at it. That's what I'm saying. They don't just... You never hear it anymore, do you? Frank peacefully died in his sleep. No, he died on the operating table whilst we were putting in a new lung. They don't die naturally anymore.
Frank died peacefully with 40,000 volts going through them and a couple of people going, clear! Clear!
Rushing about today. Got to get a lot done as I'm flying to Malaga tomorrow to see my mum and dad. Don't like flying. I'd be happy if they give you a parachute instead of a life jacket. They say Da Vinci invented the parachute as well as the helicopter. He never got round to making them though because he only drew them on some paper. Got up at 5 a.m. as I had to get to Heathrow to get on the plane to see mum and dad in Malaga. Went out for a drink with a cousin who lives in Spain. Ain't seen her for 27 years. Oh, that must have been tricky, making conversation.
I didn't really bother. Because where do you start? I might as well go up to anyone in the street and start having a chat.
Yeah, you have to go further back than... did you want Chantal to win Big Brother?
Yeah. Me dad and me talked about history. I said we shouldn't go on about things that happened ages ago because I bet something similar has happened more recently.
Brilliant.
Read about an island in the Indian Ocean where there are tribesmen still living like they're cavemen. A helicopter tried to land and the tribesmen chucked spears at them. This is what I meant about not having to talk about things that happened ages ago. We have got new cavemen now, so why do we talk about the old ones? People could have lived before, but computers and all that blew up and books got burnt, so all they had left was what these tribesmen have got left.
Ramblings
And that's the ramblings
madman.
of a maniac.
That
I mean,
is
that's just a few hours before you go crazy with a gun in the...
No, but what I mean there is, right, say if all this has happened before, right? Podcasting's been happening years ago. Something happens.
Again, a lot of information from the Planet of the Apes.
Something happens. World ends, right? We come back again somehow.
Yeah. It's the detail you leave out that makes you intriguing. Just like the watch that you can wear that tells you when you're going to die. How does it work? Pop it on your wrist. That's all the detail you need. So the world happened.
No.
We came back.
Have you seen the pictures? Forget it then if you don't get it.
It's interesting that you had all those profound thoughts about this period into the past when they all lived, but you've still found it appropriate to include at the end of that. It says the tribesmen wave their knobs about when they've had enough of having visitors.
That's what it said in the paper. That's what happens. They're quite happy.
What paper is this that you're reading?
It was in like a paper a couple of days ago. It said they don't mind having visitors if they're bringing them coconuts and stuff that they can eat. Once they've got everything they need, they start waving the tackle about, and that means like, right, leave now, which you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at a dinner party.
My grandfather used to do that.
Well now, what have we here? I'm here to tell you all about Friday night comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. Green Wing, It's Nearly Ready, My Name is Earl, and The It Crowd. The great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted. And what have we here? Jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle as it happens. Friday night comedy, this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. Now then, well now, the young man. Well now then, well now then, young man.
Oh, chimpanzee that! Monkey news!
That jingle is getting more annoyed by the week.
Well, this is the final monkey news, right? I'm not doing this anymore, right? Because we've covered it all.
All the monkey news has been covered?
It has. We've done loads of them. I think all the news that needs to be sort of known has been told, right?
That is the end of the news. Jesus Christ.
What?
Get on with it.
Right, do you know, in the first podcast that we did, we chatted about the monkey that went into space and stuff.
Mm.
So where we left
So
it...
haven't you got a real new monkey news?
Well, it's an update, isn't it? I mean,
Is
all
it new? Has
No,
it happened recent? Has it happened since podcast 1?
I have to pick Ricky up on the point that he thinks any of the monkey news we've heard, A, happened, and B, happened recently. It almost always happened in olden times, or ages ago.
Oh, you're right. It never happened.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so like I say, the first monkey news, it was about this monkey that went into space.
This was the one that was fed by bananas that came out of a little chute on the spacecraft.
Yeah, it went up there, did a really good job. It was taught how to press the buttons, hit the left button for a banana, you know.
Right button to
go right.
whatever, make history and go,
Go
into
right and
space.
Right,
Oh, what do I want? Not more banana. You haven't taken off yet? More banana. Oh, we shouldn't have given him a choice of banana or a change history. We should have the right button. We should have fed him before he went and only had a right button. He's at the left button again. He's just eating bananas up there. What's going on?
It's costing us a fortune!
Hey, little fucker. Press the right button and do something. Oh, bananas. Hey, hit the left button again, the little fucker.
so anyway, yeah, I told you, he went up there, he came back, he could never get that
The high
again.
exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? He tried other things. I think he tried to get a band together and that. Right, so anyway, there was loads of monkeys that were signed up to this NASA program, and it was 1961 when this little monkey called Ham, that was his name. So a bit of an update. That's the same one as I talked about. His
Right.
name was Ham. As well as him, there was one called Enos. He went round the world loads of times. So anyway, what I found out about it since then, Am went up there, did the left-right business with the bananas. Enos, they didn't put as much work into the trip when he went up there, and something went wrong with the machinery. And do you know how you get a banana for the left button and all that?
It's official now. There's 2 buttons in this spaceship. Banana dispenser and everything else. The right button is everything else.
But it worked the other way. The machinery went weird.
Oh no, really?
So it meant that the right button would give him a banana,
Right.
the left button did everything else.
Oh no!
How did
So
that, how
what-
did
so
that
what
happen
had been
though?
taught-
What? Oh,
This is the problem with electronics, isn't it?
well, no, I don't see
no,
how
this,
that's- I don't
apparently
see
this
how
is the problem.
But the good, I mean, honestly, look it up if you want. This is all online, by the
So
way.
what happened when it all went haywire? What occurred?
Luckily-
Carl, this is online and it's bollocks.
Luckily, Enos, because he'd done a few trips,
Right, he
so
was
he was like,
experienced.
"Well, I know this isn't right. As much as I love bananas, this isn't right."
That
So-
was his thinking. Of course, it was.
So anyway, so he came back. They were all like over the moon with him.
He
you
said,
know,
"I
going,
can't work with these conditions."
good mission and everything. Well done on working it out. He sorted all that out. It moved on a few years. Armstrong's gone up there. Buzz and that other fella, they've been up there. The monkeys aren't needed anymore. But they were like, we've got all these monkeys who have done NASA training. What are we going to do with them all? And they had to raise £14 million to make them like an old sort of chimps home for retired
Astronauts.
Retired NASA-trained monkeys.
chimpanauts. Something they've got in there is like a little museum, right, of all the missions and that they've been on, so they can sort of, even though they're not going to be going into space again, they can almost relive it and reminisce of the times that they've had. And
They're reminiscing with each other, are they?
just sort of going,
chatting
oh,
about the old
remember that
times.
time when it all went wrong, the button became the left when it should have
Yeah.
been the right and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. They just, you know, sort
Talking
of
about old times,
talking
yeah.
about old times and what have you, like old people like to do.
Sure.
And yeah, that's it. So if you want to like give some money towards their home,
Right.
you can go to like savethechimps.org, and it's all there. All that information that I've given you, it's all there. You can. sort
I'd
of
be
help 'em out.
surprised if all the information you've given us is there.
It's all there.
I'd be very surprised.
It's all there. Just retired, you know, monkeys and that who have done the bit.
Perhaps we should retire Monkey News to that same place.
That's what I mean. So, you know, I hope you've enjoyed the monkey news and that. That was the last one. Look after the monkeys. Do your bit, because they've done their bit. That's it, yeah. But just because I'm not giving the news, look it up. Do you know what I mean? It's all out there. Don't be ignorant.
Wise words.
Thank you so much for listening to these 12 podcasts. I've really enjoyed it. I know Steve and Carl have. This podcast was, as usual, hosted by Positive Internet, the world's #1 podcast. Next week, a brand new podcast. We have, as I say, we have got to charge a little bit for it because it does cost money to host. And please keep listening. It is going to be very little, and you know, Carl needs your money. If you could see what I see now, he's just looking at me with his. He just needs stuff, don't you, Carl? What do you need? What do you need?
Just something more than nothing.
For information on the archive of the podcasts, these last 12 shows, and for the new podcasts to come, go to rickygervais.com. You can register there. We'll send out loads of information. Plus, you'll just find out links to how to get all this stuff that we're offering out there. There's also a free taster if you just can't wait for more of Carl's nonsense. Make sure, please, that you register your email and everything so we can get in touch and just tell you what's going to happen with the Ricky Gervais show, with Carl's Mind, and with everything else. rickygervais.com. Go there. Makes perfect sense.
It's the end of an era, but the start of a new one. It's almost seamless in a way, isn't it? The end and the beginning. But Carl, what do you think about that? How things end and new things begin?
Well, I suppose you've got to have an end for a beginning, so it's just a bit odd that we've got an end and having a beginning. But that's science for you.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.